All right. Hey there, folks. Now that we're back after a much needed hiatus, I figured I'd bring book tour to you. So, welcome to Russ's Rockin' Rollercoaster, intriguing interviews with creative minds. So, we jumped into these deadly waters a few years ago, and much like the subject of tonight's panel, we just can't seem to stay down. Vigilantes and anti-heroes are a staple of crime and horror fiction, but our beloved Dexter Morgan, blood spatter analyst by day, serial killer by night, who seems to have multiple lives now with a prequel and a continuation, again, well, I don't think we've ever encountered a character quite like this one before. Based on the books by Jeff Lindsay, we'll be covering The Kill Room and Plastic as we get on with Deconstructing Dexter Original Sin and Resurrection. On our panel tonight is my pal, the Bram Stoker Award-winning author Tom Deady. Tom has written several novels, novellas, and short story collections, and the first book in his middle-grade horror series. Welcome back, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
All right, good to see you. Also on our panel is one of my absolute favorite people and one half of the horror author dream team, the most awesome TJ Perkins. TJ is a multi-award winning author of YA, mystery, light horror, fantasy, and Wicca health and healing. Welcome, TJ.
Nice to be here.
All right. And rounding out our panel tonight is the other half of the horror author dream team, TJ's husband, Ray Van Horn Jr. Ray is the author of Bringing in the Creeps, Behind the Shadows, Coming of Rage, and Revolution Calling. He is also a contributing writer for the Metal Hall of Fame, and a short fiction has appeared in numerous horror publications. Welcome, Ray.
Thank you. Boom.
All right. Just a heads up to the folks at home. Feel free to send notes or questions you have for me or the panel in the chat box during the show, and we'll get to a few at the end. And I've got my little Dexter mug here for a little sip here. All right. So
we like it.
So the last time I did a Dexter panel on the show, we dove into the original run and New Blood. Now tonight, we'll be breaking out the kill kit for Original Sin and Resurrection. So to begin, let's talk about Original Sin. Now, before we get into the arc of the series, which only got one season, the prequel had no shot at being even remotely worthwhile unless they got young Dexter right. What did you think about Patrick Gibson as a 20-year-old Dexter? Tom.
I thought the entire cast was really well done. I was stunned at how much the younger actors and actresses looked like the characters from the original series. So from that perspective, I did enjoy the series. I thought they covered a lot of the same ground we had already seen in flashbacks and stuff like that.
Let's just for right now, let's just stick to, did they get the young Dexter? Did they get it right?
I think they did. Yeah, I think they nailed all the characters, honestly.
Okay. So what about TJ? What'd you think?
Oh, I thought he did. I thought he nailed it with the facial expressions and his awkwardness, his social awkwardness and all. He portrayed a young Dexter perfectly.
Okay. Ray, any thoughts?
Same. Again, the entire ensemble was amazing, but I thought he was the perfect fit. The nuances were down there, especially that they could just reenact the theme and stick him in there. And it just felt like, yeah, okay, we really transcended. It's the same theme. It's the same positions and the same little smirkety smirk on the way before the title card. Yeah, thought he was fantastic.
So I happen to agree. I thought he absolutely nailed the character. I mean, he had that great mix of, he had sort of, if you go back to the original run and we had the flashbacks and you would see kind of like Michael C. Hall with that goofy, wig that they made him wear,
With the wig.
That
poor guy.
Patrick Gibson actually had a little bit more of, I thought he brought a little more actually innocence to the young Dexter, while also having the menace when he needed it. And I really thought he was absolutely fantastic. And because if they didn't get him right, the show just would have died on the vine, like right off the bat. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, I don't know how much we needed Original Sin necessarily, but I would have kept going. So what, if anything, do you think that this version of Dexter, meaning Original Sin, did they bring anything to the table that maybe we had not seen during the original run? Ray.
I think what's really cool is you get to see, as you pointed out, you see like there's a little bit of nerdiness to it. especially like some more, I guess you could say, innocent nuances, like, and especially when he like gets Deb's, pot brownies. He doesn't know it. You really get to see him completely vulnerable and just kind of almost like loving life. The fact that he has a girlfriend in this one, and there's so many different dynamics because so he's really awkward about a relationship, and it kind of sort of organically goes, but it's kind of like fitting with him trying to not be involved within the relationship, but at the same time embracing it, especially for Deb. But then also, what I really, really appreciated the fact is that, especially when he's like discovered throwing the body parts in the swamp, you finally get to see him outfoxing his employers for the first time. And I thought that was really cool.
DJ.
What I liked was how they they kind of meld in the brother, and it starts to become apparent the brother has actually been watching him and following him for a long time, and so you can start seeing how he's starting to develop and build his way of killing and what he's evolving and all. And then Dexter is actually figuring out this part before it all comes together down the road. And I thought that was really intriguing how they started
Yeah,
to kind of marry that in there.
that's a great point. I thought the same thing. I think it's actually interesting. So if you watch Original Sin, in particular, the relationship between Dexter and Brian Moser is that because we get to see how, Brian was clearly, he was already gone by the time he came into Harry's, they adopted him. When you see what he became as Brian, as a young kid, as a teenager, and then when he comes up in season 1, there's a lot more texture there. Like you're like, wow, okay, this guy was, he's not just, he wasn't just gone for, 30 years. He was really stalking his brother from the beginning because he was so desperate for belonging. So I thought that element by itself adds real texture to that relationship between Dexter and Brian. I thought was really quite good. And
it gives you a small bit of sympathy for him too, just a little.
Well, I mean, look,
you see how the both are evolving in their own way to come together in the end.
Yes, for sure. And had Brian, Brian never had a shot. He just didn't. Like there was no way to save him. But you do kind of feel like, wow, I mean, if you were him, what would you do? Like, there was no good outcome for him. And, as insane as he was and as horrible as he was, you do have that twinge of, well, none of this was his fault. He didn't ask for any of this, but in any case,
I think it makes his death in season 1 a lot more tragic because
it does. Yes, yes, I absolutely agree with you, Ray. I think you nailed that one. I think you really nailed that one for sure. So, okay, so give me some thoughts on Christian Slater's Harry and Molly Brown's version of Deb. So, Tom, what do you think?
I didn't love Christian Slater's version of Harry, honestly. I don't know. It just didn't. He's the only one that didn't really match the original series in my mind, or at least in the way I would have pictured him as a younger man. But I thought they did a great job with young Deb. I thought she played it perfectly.
Yeah. So what about Ray? What about you?
I'm a big Christian Slater fan, so I was like, I actually did a double take. I was like, you're kidding me, he's here. So I get what Tom's trying to say. There's not a lot of physical match to it, but I think that he did very well. What we're kind of forced to accept here is that we're looking at scenes being recreated from the original series with one Harry, and then Christian Slater having to put his own stamp on it. So I thought he did very well. As far as Deb, I loved it. I love that she was a complete hellraiser, and because I mean that gives our future Deb all the gravitas that she, we know why she's the way she is. She was trying to fight for any kind of recognition, not just on her volleyball team, but in her own family. And she's just lost her mother in the middle of all this, so of course she's going to be like full of fire, and that's what I really like that they developed in Original Sin.
Yeah. TJ.
Christian Slater matched, despite what the guys said. I think he does, but I wasn't real crazy about the Deb character. I thought she needed to be taller and skinnier, even in high school. Because our original Deb in the future is bony and, really tall and bony. But this Deb is more, thicker and shorter, and the hair matches and the attitude. And of course, I love that she curses so much because that's a woman of my own heart. but
she's a maestro at the F-bomb.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't think that she, to me, in my opinion, I didn't think that she matched the Deb that was going to be in the future. She just needed to be taller and bonier.
So I mean, I agree, physically, I agree 100% there. The character, the feistiness I liked. I'm not sure there was a complete tonal match between the high school Deb and the Deb that we saw in the original run, but I do appreciate what Molly brought to it. And I'm like you, I'm a huge Christian Slater fan. I have to admit, I did not love his version of Harry. Because Harry is his personality. He's very mellow and he's very patient for the most part. And and I know you don't necessarily want to like do a characterization of someone, try to imitate, but I didn't feel like they were it didn't seem like they were actually the same person to me. That Christian Slater's Harry and the Harry that we've known, I didn't feel the connection quite as much as I wanted to. But it's hard to sort of, you don't necessarily want to have to like pick up his affectations and try to be that other person. You have to put your own spin on it. But in any case, all right. So let's get on to Resurrection. So at the end of New Blood, which at that time was supposed to be the end of the end, Harrison shoots and kills Dexter. But surprise, motherfucker, he's not dead. The cold weather kept him alive. Now, in the first 2 episodes, there was a lot of tap dancing to, well, resurrect Dexter. But once he was back, boy, was he back. So now, give me your initial impressions of Michael C. Hall's performance as he portrayed a slightly older, more physically limited Dexter Morgan. TJ.
Oh, I thought he was getting the older man thing down pretty good. Me being an older person, older than probably most of you. So yeah, the knees are starting to hurt, the back is starting to hurt, God, elbows, like, so yeah, I thought he did a good job with it. He probably could have hammed it up a little bit more. I could give him pointers as based on my physical problems, but yeah, I thought he did good.
So Tom, what'd you think?
I thought he did a great job. I thought he portrayed someone who's kind of trying to get back into who he really is after New Blood, which he was, suppressing all his urges and all that. Yeah, I thought his performance mirrored what somebody with that character arc would really look like. I thought he did a very good job of convincing us that, he's not the same young guy going around fighting and killing people that he was in the original series. So I really like the whole resurrection arc for Dexter, as well as how he portrayed the character in Resurrection.
Ray, any thoughts there?
Number one, I'm a big fan of the guy, especially since 6 Feet Under. So from when I saw that, I knew he could do anything. So I really loved what he did in this show, especially from the fact that not only he's trying to reconnect with his son, who he gave him his literal shooting orders, but from a distance, but then trying to get close. But now I like the struggle that I want to grab my son and hold him, but if I do, but what I really like also is his scruple set has changed. Even though he's starting to evolve back into the Dexter we know by getting involved in the club, the Killer Club. I like the fact that like he stops the dark passengers next victim. So he stops that whole thing. So he's like, you're starting to see he's getting a little bit of a conscience that he's struggling with. And I like that.
Yeah. So I mean, personally, I thought Michael C. Hall was he was the peak performance right from the get-go. He just so embodied this guy. I mean, look, so he and I are, I'm almost 55, he's about the same age, and we're all getting, everything. We all have our ouchies and owies and cracks and things. I was just at the chiropractor this morning, but also what's interesting, and I wanted to mention it real quick when we went back to Original Sin, when young Dexter saves the kid who, he's drowning in the ship and the water, and it's filling up. I mean, he had like that decency, like, I wanted to save this kid because it's the right thing to do. And Dexter has actually always had a little bit of that in him throughout the whole series, but in Resurrection, more so than he ever did. He is no longer exactly the same Dexter. He's always evolved, but I think he's evolved into something that's both old and new. And Michael C. Hall, I think, just embodied it phenomenally. Now, the character of Harrison has been a bit contentious. People seem to love him or hate him. Where do you guys stand? TJ, what do you think?
He got on my nerves in the beginning, as most teenagers would, but he was taking on Daddy's personality, and I don't know. To me, he was like the typical teenager. Okay, I got it. I'm going to handle this my way. I know what I'm doing. I don't need you. Oh, Dad, I screwed up, so now I need you. So I don't know. I'm sitting on the fence with him, but his presence helps Dexter evolve into his more mature fatherly role that he has no idea what to do because he missed out on his son's whole life.
Tom, what do you think?
He is my least favorite character in any season of any of the Dexter series. I cannot stand him. I don't know what it is. I just can't stand him. I know they're never going to kill him off, but I wish for it every episode.
Jeez, okay, wow.
Yeah, I'm not on the fence on this one at all.
All right, Tom, please stop. Don't hold back. Ray, what are your thoughts there?
What's funny is like my son watched Resurrection before us, and all he could say is that Harrison looks like he wants to cry half the time through all of New Blood. And I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, he's right. And then he's just like a little pissant in that series, but at the same time, it's natural. The teenager's going to feel their parent out and challenge them. I mean, we're just coming to the tail end of that for real as parents. And so in Resurrection, at least you get a chance for him to, I don't know. I don't know where I stand. I think that he's necessary. I mean, you can't like leave your child for all that time after season 8, which you got to have some sort of closure on the book here. So I don't know where we stand in season 2, if Harrison bites it or if he takes over. I don't know.
Okay. So, I mean, personally, I think he's great. And I think that a lot of the complaints, I mean, this is just my perspective. I think, candidly, you're kind of being way too hard on this kid. You be Harrison Morgan. You be the Bay Harbor butcher's son. You be him and try to have any kind of normalcy at all. His aunt killed, his mother butchered in his home, abandoned by his dad. His dad asked him to shoot him to death. He helps him hack up people, hunt serial killers, all before the kid's 20. What would happen to you? Do you think you could stand up and handle that anywhere near as well as he could? I would say no shot. None.
Do you think he has the dark passenger or not? Because I think he does.
Yes.
I think he does.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. No question.
No, whether or not he will kind of let him off the leash, that unclear. But I think
you see it right out the bat.
Right. But I mean, especially in that scene in Resurrection where, he fucking wails on that guy who tried to rape the girl. I mean,
exactly.
That scene was, I mean, holy crap, that was like some scary shit. He went out there and he's bashing him over the fucking head, and then he's chopping up the body.
I was
And
gonna
he
say,
knows
just like his
exactly
dad,
what to
man.
do. And then he's got the presence of mind to stay calm enough to bullshit his way past a super cop. Good
Mhm.
God, this kid has got some game. I mean, so all his like, oh, he looks like he's want to cry. Wouldn't you want to? First of all, when you were a teenager, didn't you want to cry half the time? And if you lived his life, I think you might want to cry just a little bit. So just my opinion. I think the haters on him are like, just try being him for like 5 minutes and see how well you'd hold up. But that's just me. That's okay. All right, so Dexter, being Dexter, hunts a serial killer as a year car driver, kills him, then steals his identity and infiltrates billionaire Leon Prater's inner circle of like-minded individuals. Now, I don't know if you guys ever read it, but it reminded me of the Corinthian storyline in The Sandman with the serial killers convention. Now,
Yeah,
talk to me
that's a
about
background.
that setup of a collection of infamous serial killers. Tom, what'd you think?
I loved the plot line for Resurrection. I thought that setup was absolutely perfect, and it helped Dexter kind of delve into his own like inner character to figure out, am I really one of these guys or am I not one of these guys? So the premise to me was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, I loved Resurrection for that. I did.
Okay, so Ray, what'd you think?
Number one, I'm glad you brought up Sandman. I think that's one of the greatest horror graphic novels or comic series ever. So cool, good pull there. I also love the whole premise of it, and I loved the Peter Dinklage just having his own little private collection, which also happened to have some of Dexter's own trophies. So, I mean, it's nice to have your own sins put right back in your face in a little bit, and I think that really set up a good contact for when Batista confronts him towards the end.
Well, we're gonna get to that. So
I know.
hang
I'm
on.
stop. I'm going to stop there. But that whole environment, I think, was just phenomenal.
So, TJ.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was very well done. It had a good flow to it, and it helped him actually see himself in these other people. And just like what Tom said, it really worked. And I can't think of the right words I want to use, but I just again, he can see, oh, these are really the monsters. These really need to go. But yet look at me. And now I'm kind of here. So I think he did some of his best work in secret in that series.
I thought it was so great. I mean, I loved it when he walks into that museum and that collection, and he's seeing all the stuff, and then he sees when he runs his fingers over the blood slide kit. Oh my God, I had like chills going down me. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
And then he's got the rack where he killed his brother, and he's seeing this. Whoa. And then as it evolves, and there's a part of him who's like, wow, I get to be with my people. And then he's like, you are not my people, Adam. You are not like, so think about this, a serial killer who's killed 150 people or whatever it was, and he's saying, you people are fucking crazy. I mean, right? I mean, what a great juxtaposition, because it allowed, I mean, it was so chunky and pulpy, right? Over the top, and yet for his world, it really worked. And the fact that we got to see the true menace and horror of those other killers through Dexter's eyes. So we got to see it through our eyes and through his eyes simultaneously. And he's sort of in that toggle space where he kind of wants it to be his thing, but he kind of knows right away that it's really not. But he's kind of hoping, and as it just becomes clearer and clearer, it's like, these are a bunch of sick fucks, and I'm just gonna take. Like, this is like, what he's saying. What is wrong with you people, right?
Right.
I mean,
So
Rapunzel alone, my God.
right,
Yeah.
I know when the Bay Harbor Butcher is saying, you guys are too sick for this world, like you're really something. And in particular, I thought it was interesting where he meets with Mia, and he thinks, oh, she's got a code, which you had to figure from the beginning, probably not. And I thought it was interesting. I was convinced that her suicide was faked and that she was going to come back at the end. But when I rewatched it, they mentioned early that one of other Prater's folks had committed suicide in prison, and I missed it the first time. They actually set that up to they really planted that seed really, really well. So I thought that was great. Okay, so Peter Dinklage as billionaire Leon Prater was for the Dexter universe was a new kind of big bad. Ray, what do you think?
Yes.
Yeah. Number one, if you haven't seen Peter Dinklage do the Toxic Avenger, do so at once. The man can do anything, just
Yes.
like Hall. But yeah, it's just like we've never seen anything like this. As someone who is sort of a billionaire mastermind, but in his own way, he feels that he's in the right of what he's doing.
Yeah.
His whole world is like, I'm just embracing who I am. And, if you're on board with that, great. If you don't understand, it's not my problem.
Tom?
Yeah, his character was fantastic. As far as where he fits in the big bads, he's up there. I mean, it's almost worse to be that kind of voyeur and collect these people
Yeah.
and live vicariously through them the way he did than to just do it yourself. And then, as it turns out, he did it himself and liked it. So
I loved
maybe he'd been suppressing that the whole time.
I loved how like he was so twistedly giddy about what he was doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
his own inner justification for
Yeah.
Why he was so enthused about it, and he was doing this thing, and he was like, it was not only shameless, it was that's not even the right word. He was a complete dork about it, right? He lived it and breathed it. He loved everything about it. It was to him, it was like yes to all about this, but it wasn't like, some loser fanboy who's just sort of like studying it from afar. I mean, he lived and breathed all of this, and sort of like all the other stuff that he did outside in the world was really just that was his mask, right? We got to see the real Leon Prater, right? That's who and especially by the end where he finally, when he does what he does, and he wants to be part of the cool club.
Yeah.
I mean, right? Isn't that ultimately what he was?
Yeah.
Because he was this little kid who was, not only was he a victim of that car accident, but he was a little person back then, and he probably had all that kind of, who knows what comes with that kind of shame and guilt, because it's not normally socially acceptable, and especially when he was a kid, right? If he's 50 something at that time, so he was probably, he probably grew up in the 70s, and it's not like people were so nice to little people back then. So who knows? So now he's like, I finally get to be part of the cool club, and he had a very odd cool club idea of what a cool club was, but in any case, all right, so. Now, this is a big one. Okay. Let's talk about poor Batista. So here's a guy whose life was partially destroyed because Dexter's antics led to the deaths of LaGuerta, Dopes, and Deb. Even though Dexter did not kill any of them, he is, responsible by environment. And here he is, after all these years, hunting down his former best friend. What were your feelings about the Batista storyline? TJ.
I felt so bad for him. I really liked his character. He was a kind-hearted, big-hearted soul, and he just wanted to do right, and he was always wanted to be the good cop, and and I'm gonna, even if it's my best friend and someone I believed and trusted in all these years, I've got to bring him to justice. And Dexter was like, yeah, no. So, I mean, I feel really, I felt bad for him that he went out that way, because he was retired. He was not really supposed to be there, but he just couldn't leave that scab alone and kept picking at it. And then he got infected.
Right.
I'm all team Batista all day. So it was, for me, I was like, oh, this sucks. Oh my God. why? Just why? But I know why. And for me, the whole thing, the Batista's reaction at the very end, and Dexter's almost trying to absolve himself a little, or at least say, "I confess. You're going to die anyway. Okay, I confess, but please understand me. I didn't do it. Was really out to get. I didn't do that." And Batista's reaction, I was thinking, you know what? That was natural. It was perfect. It hurt like hell to see between the two of them.
Yeah.
I have to admit, his final words of "fuck you."
I loved it.
Personally, I was not a fan.
No,
No, because of all the things. I mean, he had 20 years of this stuff built up. I felt like Batista was owed a little bit more of a moment to express whatever he wanted to say, that there was a better way to say it. I mean, granted, the guy's dying, but this is the last words he'll ever say on the show. I felt like they should have given him a line or two. He could have said, whatever he wanted to say, whatever you want to say about yourself, Dexter, I put my heart and soul into you, and you fucking and you destroyed me, or whatever. Just something more eloquent than "fuck you." But anyway, Tom, what did you think?
Yeah, I was thrilled when they brought his character back in New Blood, and then again when he follows them to New York City in Resurrection. I kind of envisioned when they said there was going to be more seasons before I finished Resurrection that this was going to be like the Sherlock Holmes Moriarty thing, where they were just going to be constantly competing with each other, and Angel would be chasing him down in every season. So that his death kind of shocked me, and I agree. The same way they did Deb dirty, I thought they did Angel dirty in this. I didn't like it.
Yeah, so I had a very strange reaction because having seen it twice now. So Batista was, in his way, he was really like he was the lovely heart of he was the lovely conscience of the show. He was a gentle soul amongst everything else.
Yeah.
And obviously Batista was in the absolute right in hunting down Dexter. I mean, Dexter is the Bay Harbor Butcher. He did all the things that Batista thought he did. He did. Dexter is actually responsible for the death of Deb, Rita, LaGuerta, the destruction that Dexter caused by extension, and
Dokes.
And yet, why was I rooting for Dexter the entire time? I was. The whole time I was on team, and I know logically I should not have been. Batista was right. But I was on team Dexter I wanted Dexter to get away. I did. And I didn't want, even though of course it made sense, I couldn't emotionally get on Batista's side, because in the show, Dexter's the hero he's the hero of this show. And it's a weird conflict to be in, because I understand there's no logical reason why I should be on Dexter's side. I shouldn't be, but I was, because I want Dexter to be free and do his thing. And I really thought that the way I could accept the fact that, look, Batista was never gonna win. Never. He's honestly, he was a better cop here than he ever was in the original run. And yet he was still a little bit sloppy like he was in the original run. He didn't tie up the loose ends to really sell his story. He did sound deranged.
He did.
He sounded deranged.
Did.
And
it bit him with the New York detectives,
And he undercut himself, but that I thought was incredibly consistent, because Batista was always he was never a great cop, but he was a good person, right? Yes. So it was a weird thing, and the way that episode, not the penultimate episode when he died, I thought was incredibly anticlimactic for me, because I wanted my heart to be broken when Batista died. And it was kind of like, it happened very fast, but I thought they did a nice job when they came back in the next episode, and Dexter had like a nice moment with Batista, and he basically said, you were always such a good dude. Basically, you were such a good dude, and I'm sorry it went this way. And I thought there was some redemption in that element of it. All right, so quick interlude for those who came in a little late. If you have any question or comments, put them in the chat box, and we'll get to the end. Okay, so real quick, Detective Claudette Wallace was no joke. Talk to me about her, Tom.
And another great character. This has been a theme throughout every Dexter season. Is there's always a great supporting cast, and she was no disappointment there. Great cop, weirdly obsessive personality, and I will tell you, if they set up that whole dance scene and didn't follow through, I thought they were going to let her walk out of there without dancing. I couldn't believe it. And then they fixed it. So.
How great was that? Where that was
so great.
It was like the first time you felt like, wow, she's like a real person.
Yes.
Right? She's like, wow, okay.
I thought she could really dance.
Yeah,
too.
she was great. Yeah. What'd you guys think about her, TJ?
Oh, I liked her. I liked her, and I was like, this is a hard-nosed bitch. I could go out drinking with her.
Yeah.
I really liked this woman, but at the same time, she's scary.
Yes, but that's what made her so great, though.
And no nonsense, no bullshit. This is it. Point blank.
She pieced together like what Harrison was up to. Like when he's saying, hey, look, what I think happened is I think actually you tried to do the right thing. This guy was going to rape her, and you walked in, tried to save her, and you tried to stop a potential crime, and you chopped him, you hit him over the head with the porcelain thing, you cleaned up the blood, you chopped up the body. I'm like, she figured all that, and it wasn't like, and it wasn't. She just sort of like intuited it. She put the pieces she followed the clues, and she put the pieces together. She cut out all emotion and just looked at the evidence.
She has no emotion. There is no emotion in this woman.
Tom.
She's like the anti-Dexter. She did the same thing Dexter does every time he's pursuing someone, and she did it the exact same way with no emotion and was spot on all the way through.
Absolutely.
Great character.
Yeah. I thought that was great. And I thought it was really interesting how when Dexter's leaving the trophy room, and he had all those files, and he left some behind. Do you think that he left the Ripper folder behind on purpose?
Oh yeah.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. Yep.
100%.
And I have to admit, I absolutely loved that moment when, what a great double piece of it when Harrison goes in for the lecture, and he walks in, and she's the one giving the lecture. Talk about like, my God, what a great moment. And like, she sees him, like they see her seeing, like they see her seeing him seeing her. And it was like this real like double loaded thing. And everyone's kind of like keeping their cool. And then when Dexter's like, your crowbar theory, he's like, I'm not so sure. If you look at the blood splatter like this, and she's kind of like, fuck, I think he's right. Fuck. That was so great. Just that little moment of like her who thinks she knows everything, and you could almost hear her saying, fuck, how did I miss that? That was what a juicy little moment. I love
that. That's like white noise right there. I'd be hearing white noise if I was running into that situation.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Okay, so Resurrection ends with Dexter back on a boat, and a big one.
Peters.
Right. And says his final line is, I'm the Dexter you want me to be. Now, how did you guys feel about the ending? Ray?
I thought that was perfect. I think that it was appropriate that he got Dinklage on the table after Dinklage takes the plunge and kills. And now Dexter's 100% justified in taking him out. And for him to dump his body parts in the New York harbor, perfect. I think that whole thing just really set the stage for season 2 and whatever else we want to do, especially with as Dexter saying, I'm who you want me to be. Okay, but he's embracing his inner Dexter, also knowing that he has a place to live with a kind of somewhat deranged family, and then he's got Harrison trying to go to college and whatever. So he's kind of got his his compass set at that point, I think.
TJ, what'd you think?
It was open. It was, to me, it was left way open to do whatever else that they want to do. So I don't know. He's the Dexter we want him to be, but he's now a dad with a teenager going into college. He's gotten away yet again, and now he's going to take off on a boat and go where? Is he going to? Will this pick up maybe in another country? Maybe. Who knows? He's on a boat. He can go anywhere he wants and do whatever he wants. So what kind of a Dexter did I want him to be? I just wanted him to get away. Is every time, even at the last minute, he got away again.
Yeah.
All right, Tom, what'd you think? The end.
I love the ending. After hating the ending of the original series and hating the ending of New Blood, I love this ending.
So third time's a charm, huh?
Yeah, finally. They finally got it right. But, one other thing we didn't talk about a little bit was the Dexter we want him to be, I think, is the way he was in the original series, but maybe with a little more humanity to him.
Yes,
and I think he showed that when
yeah.
Angel died.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I thought was great. So,
yeah.
So if you go back when I was saying to Original Sin, like when he saves the kid who's drowning,
Yep.
like, to me, this is more of like, that's the version. This is my favorite version of Dexter, where he's the Dexter who goes and he's like, Batman to an extreme. With actually, if you want to say it in his way, a heart.
And his girlfriends are a rogues gallery, by the way.
Yes, and I happen to, and I thought it was great when he's got Prater on the table, and Prater's negotiating, and he's like, and he's giggling, he's like, no one can say no to the money. No one can say no to the money. He's like, I don't give a fuck about your money. He's like, what? That was just amazing. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And the fact that Dexter's back. And one last thing I wanted to pick up, we didn't talk about earlier. I think it was my favorite moment certainly in this season. And one of my favorite moments of the whole series is when Dexter gets the dark passenger, the your car driver. He has him on the table. It's his first like real classic Dexter kill. And he's doing the taunting, he's having the conversation, and he kills him. I swear to God, I got chills down me. It was, I know it's twisted, but it was like, I like embraced Dexter's, that thrill of like, that utter satisfaction of that moment, being able to experience the Dexter that I wanted for so long. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Okay, well, that was great, but now it's time to spin the wheel. On the wheel are 7 categories. Wherever it lands is what you get, and the categories are Secret Superstitious, Who's Joking Now, Dinner is Served, Dexter's Destiny, CSI, My Ghost Harry, and Judge, Jury, and Dexecutioner. All right, TJ, you're up first. You ready?
Okay.
All right, wherever it lands is what you get. What do we got tonight? And TJ gets Dexter's Destiny. This is a brand new one. So what do we got here? Dexter. We got, okay. Throughout TV and movie history, a handful of actors seem born to play a certain role. Michael C. Hall and Dexter seem destined for each other. Give me 3 other performers who seem destined for their particular roles in any show, any movie.
See, now I'm going to be... Okay, so Johnny Depp was born to be Captain Jack. And what's his name that played Thor? I can't think of his name.
Oh, Hemsworth?
Hemsworth, yeah.
Yep. I think he made the perfect Thor. And Harrison Ford for Solo and Indiana Jones.
All right.
And Decker.
Okay. All right, there you go. All right, Tom, you're up next. You ready?
All right.
All right, what do we got? All right, you got dinner. Dinner is served. Oh, I like this one.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, so hold on. Okay. Dr. Hannibal Lecter has invited you over to dinner. Knowing his penchant for feeding his victims to unsuspecting guests, would you eat what looks like a delicious meal he prepared, knowing what might be in there? Or do you decline, fearing how he might take that rejection?
I think I would have to decline. I don't know. The thought of possibly eating another human, I think I would risk the consequences of declining.
Okay.
That's tough, but yeah.
Yeah, no good choices there, are there?
No, not really. Would you rather?
Okay, yeah. All right, Ray, you ready?
All righty, man.
All right, what do we got? All right, for you. Oh, we already did that one. CSI. All right, what is this one? I've done this a few times. I can't remember. Here we go. You are a crack member of a forensic squad, but your role is to utilize your newly implanted cybernetic eye to digitally read facial tics, blood flow through the retina, and pick up any other micro clues from your suspect. With your new eye, you'd be a star within CSI, but your eye would be permanently red and glowing with no way to effectively cover it up. Do you accept your new eye? Yes or no?
Yes, absolutely. Who wouldn't want to be the Terminator?
Okay. I don't know. Maybe not me. Okay.
Use a patch.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, you could do that too, but
All
I'll
right.
take the red eye all day, no problem.
Okay. All right. That was great. But now it's time to pick your poison. I got three choices, A, B, or C. I'm not going to tell you what's behind each, but I will say that they're all related to tonight's theme. All right. Ray, you're up first. A, B, or C?
C.
C. All right. We're going to give you some truth serum. I'm going to ask you 10 Dexter questions. Answer quickly. You ready?
Whew. All right, here we go.
Okay. Out of all 11 seasons of Dexter, where do you rank Original Sin? Top third, middle third, or bottom third?
Original Sin, middle.
Okay. Out of all 11 seasons of Dexter's, where do you rank Resurrection? Top, middle, or bottom third?
Definitely top.
All right. We saw Dexter's first kill, the nurse, in season 1 and then recreated in Original Sin. Which version did you like better?
The original.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Favorite kill from Resurrection?
Who? Easily Dinklage because of the poetic justice. So.
Okay, right on. Okay, I was wondering if you were going to go that or Gemini, but who knew? Okay. All right. Most daunting foe, Claudette or Lundy?
Ooh. Damn. I would take Lundy only because that man he will not stop. I'm not saying that Claudette won't either. Claudette is too compelled by the Bee Gees, so I'm going with Lundy here. So.
All right. Is Gigi going to be trouble for Harrison?
Yes.
Is Blessing the new Batista?
No. I mean, he's got a different purpose, a higher purpose, I think. No.
All right. Guest actor you'd love to see as a big bad for Dexter to tangle with?
Ooh. Actually, yeah, Harrison. We brought up Harrison Ford. I'd love to see Harrison Ford.
Okay. If you could pick any character from the entire Dexter universe you wished had gotten a bigger or juicier story arc in Resurrection or even gotten a cameo, who would that be?
I mean, yeah, I mean, we had Dokes would have been cool. I mean, we've got to see Dokes in a cameo. We'd like to see a little bit more of that fleshed out. So,
okay. All right. Now, deep down, by the end of Resurrection season 1, is Dexter a hero, a lunatic, or both?
Both. I mean, he's a classic anti-hero, but he goes by his own moral code. But do we all subscribe to the same moral code? No.
All right, fair enough. All right, so we'll take any questions if we have any. I don't see any in the chat box. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I got some stuff for everyone to see, and then we're going to call it a night. So bear with me just a moment, and let me do the goodies. Okay, Tom, talk to me, buddy. What am I looking at here?
That is the beautiful cover by Lynn Hanson for the second entry in the Rack series, which is my kind of tribute anthology to the kind of paperbacks from hell, vintage horror paperbacks that used to appear on every spinny rack in every store back in the late 70s and early 80s. It's multi-author anthologies, all writing in the tone of those ludicrous covers that you used to see on vintage horror paperbacks. And there's a lot of stories about nature gone wild, giant insects, creepy kids, haunted puppets, all that kind of cool stuff. So, Rack 3 coming out next year.
Sweet. All right. Great. If you guys are horror fans, I know you are, pick up your copy. All right, TJ, what do we got?
Oh, this is the second book in the Kim and Kelly mystery series. So this is my version of an all-new Nancy Drew character, but with two main characters, Kim and Kelly. You can get it on Amazon or what's that other, Lulu or Barnes and Noble, whatever you can. The first book is Fantasies of Murder. So this is the second one that came out. And actually, if you just look me up on Amazon, you can find all of my books.
All right. Awesome. All right. Ray, what do we got?
We have Bringing in the Creeps. This is 11 different types of horror stories. It's a collection that is a sequel to another one prior to Behind the Shadows. People who have read both of these books have called them mixtapes of horror because I'm all over the place. I would say that EC Horror Comics, Creep Show, and The Twilight Zone are my Bibles. The stories range between some gore, a lot of gore, no gore. I pretty much just explore everything in horror that really appeals to me, and they are available at the same places: Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and a lot of online retailers.
All right, rock on. All right, now, as for me, since tonight's theme has been serial killers, I'm going to bring you back to my first novel in the Angela Hardwick series. In my mind, Angela Hardwick is part Blade Runner, part Doctor Who, and part John Wick. In Crackle and Fire, Hardwick is hired by an accounting by a young executive in an accounting firm who says that a middle-aged intern has absconded with critical files and he wants her to get him back before his bosses find out. She's reluctant to take the case, but ends up on the trail of an intergalactic serial killer who, if is set free to do his own bidding, will be up to no good. So if you're into serial killers with a little bit of a Blade Runner kind of vibe in there, I would encourage you to check it out. Crackle and Fire is available in ebook and print and is published by Crazy 8 Press. And there are other books in the series, and they're all standalones, so you don't have to read them all, and you don't have to read them in order. But if serial killers are your vibe, you might want to check this one out. Okay, guys. That's our show. I want to thank my guests tonight. We got Ray and Tom and TJ for coming on and talking about our new version of Dexter. And I want to thank everyone who's watching at home. I hope you had a great time. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow me on social media and subscribe to my YouTube channel. As always, I'm your host, Russ Colchamiro. And please be kind, be gentle, be generous of spirit. And for God's sake, go read a book. And I'll see you all in 2 weeks. All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Russ.
All right. Bye now.
Thank you, Russ.
All right. Bye.